Hello YouTube, Wadrace here again. Happy 4th of July to all y'all Americans out there. And today I will be running a Tier 10 Hindenburg match replay for you all. Now, this was a replay that I put together a few days ago, and well, it would probably be more fitting to do a Montana or another American ship replay on the 4th of July. I just really didn't have the time to put a run together, so I figured I'd work with a replay that I already had. But to make things a little bit better off, I will apply the Stars and Stripes camo to the Hindenburg, sacrilegious though it may be, and that will have to be good enough. Unfortunately, it will not be lasting throughout the match. Again, this was a battle that was a couple of days ago, but the port recording was done today, so at least there's that. I am running this ship with a 17 skill commander. He has direction control for aircraft, adrenaline rush, expert marksman, AFT, BFT, and inertia fuse high explosive. I am all working on getting him up to 19 points, and when I do, I'm gonna probably give him demo expert. And for my module upgrades, I am running AA Guns Mod 3, Steering Gears Mod 3, Steering Gears Mod 2, AA Mod 2, Damage Control Mod 2, and Main Armament Mod 1. Now, one of the things that I will say that I like about the Hindenburg compared to a lot of the other ships in game is that, first off, starting with her comparison to the Tier 9 German cruiser, the Rune, she has 2 forward turrets instead of just 1, which really gives her an edge in combat compared to some of her earlier tier predecessors. The 1 gun forward, 2 guns behind really just kind of detracts from the ship's performance as far as I'm concerned. But the other thing that I like is that she has 2 torpedo launchers on each side of the ship, which means regardless of what happens, if I get into close quarters with another ship, I have 2 sets of torpedoes that I can drop in relatively short order. A lot of other cruisers only have 1 set of torpedoes, or in the case of the Americans and the Moskva, have none. So it really tends to even the playing field a lot, especially when dealing with battleships in close quarters, instead of having to rely solely on firepower of the main battery. Now, the other thing that I do enjoy about the Hindenburg is that she is one of the cruisers that can also reach a AA rating of 100 or better. And it definitely comes in handy when there are aircraft carriers roaming the map. I do not have respect for a full AA build, meaning I don't have manual AA batteries selected, but I mean, she's already got an AA rating of 100 even without that, so I'm happy with her. She at least takes care of most of the incoming aircraft or strike or anything like that. And, I mean, it's workable. It's not phenomenal, but it is workable. It takes my focus away from the aircraft carrier and it puts it where it needs to be, which is on ships that are substantially closer to me. And you will see later on in this match that that is a very major benefit. Now, something else that I'm going to mention real quick is that this is a very... to me, this is a phenomenal ship. I have worked with most of the American cruisers by now, not counting the new light cruisers. I mean, okay, Cleveland's okay, but the Japanese cruisers, their guns are sluggish, they're slow, they certainly hit with a lot of power, but they're just really lackluster. The torpedo systems are phenomenal, but and this is where I really have to praise the Hindenburg's torpedoes just a little bit. While the torpedoes themselves aren't exactly phenomenal, the torpedo firing arcs make up for a lot of that, I guess, loss of flexibility that the Japanese cruisers have. The Japanese cruisers do not really have the capability of firing their torpedoes forward, with the exception of the two premium ships, the Otago and the ARP Takao, when that was out and running. I have both of them, but it's nice having those forward firing arcs on the torpedoes, just because sometimes you're getting a little bit too close, you're running a little bit low on health, and trying to swing the rear end of your ship off to try and get torpedoes off, more often than not gets you killed long before you can even get an angle on your torpedo launchers, let alone actually fire them. The German guns are phenomenal. Their accuracy is amazing. The damage that they do, while it may not be great for their high explosive shells, the armor-piercing shells really take a lot off of ships when you get a nice clear shot broadside. Now, that's not saying that the HE shells are worthless. They certainly do the job when you have a bow-on target like this Bismarck that I'm firing down on. But the AP shells are where the German ships, especially German destroyers, and the German cruisers really shine. They're very powerful, very hard-hitting armor-piercing shells. The other thing I like about the German cruisers versus some of the Americans is that, well, unless you're taking a broadside hit from a Gascon, the armor profile is, it's a definitively heavy cruiser. It can really tank damage in ways that a lot of the other cruiser lines can't. And I just enjoy it. I will freely admit that the cruiser lines that the ship lines that I most enjoy playing in game are the German destroyers and German cruisers, just because they're tanky, they're tough, they're durable, and their guns, under the right circumstances, have more than enough firepower to get the job done. I mean, honestly, in some cases, I would not have expected to finish off this Bismarck if I were working with, say, a Cleveland, or even really a Des Moines, just because while the Des Moines does have a lot of firepower, once I start getting in close, that firepower doesn't mean quite so much, just because you don't have torpedoes to level the playing field when striking above your weight class. I mean, it can be done, don't get me wrong, but it is exceptionally difficult. The German cruisers kind of have... So that comes back to one of the other things that I wanted to really strike on, which is just the sheer versatility of the German ships. They have torpedoes, they have Hydra, they have a spotter plane to increase their firing range and their visual aspect on targets at long range. The torpedoes, like with the German destroyers, reload relatively quickly. They do a reasonable amount of damage. It's not phenomenal damage, but it's enough to, again, get the job done. And just, again, the sheer versatility of these ships is absolutely astounding. The US cruisers, they're heavy gun platforms, but their big thing is their anti-air armament. Japanese cruisers, the best thing going for them is also one of their greatest weaknesses, and that is the torpedoes. Their guns are, they're viable in combat, but they really aren't that great. The best thing going for the Japanese in any of their iterations is just the sheer power of their torpedoes. The Brits, you've got very concealed light cruisers. The French, you've got the fast light cruisers. But they really don't have an incredible amount of versatility like the German the German cruisers do. And that is one of the things that I have to say I enjoy more than anything about any of the German ship lines, is, again, just the sheer versatility. there are very few other ship lines in this game that can be looked at in quite the same way as being so versatile. And because of that, you are very capable of striking above your weight class as a cruiser, and very definitely so as a destroyer. They're survivable and versatile, which, in my opinion, that's kind of a slam dunk as far as any ship that you really want to be working with. And at higher tiers, it's even more of a good thing to have, because, well, by then you have everything is so specialized that it's nice to have something that can be re-engineered or re-geared to whatever seems to work best. And just having that versatility is really a big deal. Now, kind of coming to the match a little bit, I did have the Gascon that got a little too close. Torpedoes took that out. The Bismarck, again, torpedoes took that out for me. I have certainly carried my weight, in fact more than carried my weight in this match, and this was, in my opinion, rather a phenomenal match. It showcases a lot of what German cruisers are capable of. And the other thing is that right here, I've got two ships that are very notable threats. I've got Chapayev and I've got the Shokaku that are nearby. But my AA rating especially allows me to not have to worry so much about the Shokaku getting strike aircraft through, so long as I'm paying attention to any aircraft that are coming in. Which means, even though I have two ships that are technically threats and very high priority targets, I can at least focus my attention somewhat on the Chapayev to basically keep myself alive, because I was under fire and I was having to literally run from it and keep myself angled, which also kind of kept me moving away from the Shokaku. And this is where the versatility comes in a little bit too, is that my gun rotation is decent enough that I can turn all of my guns to pop off a few rounds on the Chapayev and then again on the Shokaku, and I was literally splitting my fire between the two. Now, fortunately, the Chapayev did get taken out by the friendly battleship. Now, I don't know why the Yu Yang popped smoke here. It's not like he was concealing me from anything. If anything, I think he was trying to block my line of sight on the carrier so that he could take it out himself. But all things considered, that really didn't pay all that well for him, because that torpedo bomber squadron that just dropped out of view is actually going to manage to drop torpedoes on him. And if I had been able to keep line of sight on the carrier, he might not have actually died in this match. Case in point. But if nothing else, his death does at least allow me to get the final strike, fire, and kill on this top. Coming into the results screens, I did 209,000 damage, 383,000 credits earned, 2,700 experience points earned for the match, shot down 41 planes, 12 torpedo hits, 150 main battery shell hits. And if that isn't impressive, even for a co-op match, I don't know what is. My experience points were more than double the nearest competitor, and that was a bot. Easily almost 3 times the nearest actual player on my team. I did 79,000 damage with my guns, 99,000 damage with my torpedoes, and I mean, I wreaked havoc. My total earnings, my actual earnings, were 262,000 credits, and I earned 7,000 commander experience points. On that note, I will let you all go. Enjoy your Independence Day, and I shall talk to you all when I put out my next video.